Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, wherever you may be. CC here, Chris, from New York, Westchester County.
What? Why are you set up like that? This is super weird. And hey, Chris, aka CC, aka the guy whose wife makes fun of him for being a dumbass. Or at least so I've heard. How are you doing, my friend? It's nice to see you not running this video in hardcore permadeath mode, aka talking to a little black box whilst driving. So that's nice to see. What do you want to talk about today?
It's September 19th, 2020.
You know, I've been meaning to ask, why do you feel the need to do that in all your videos? I mean, you know when you upload them, you can put info in the low bar, right? And if you upload them the same day as you record them, which I'm sure you likely do, then it's going to be written there anyway. And I just don't see the point. Most of your content isn't exactly time sensitive, is it? I mean, no matter the day, the Earth's still not gonna be flat, so I don't know. Maybe it's a boomer thing. I mean, look at that hair. A glorious boomer mane if I ever did see one.
Can we have a serious talk, serious discussion?
Well, no. You're on the Cersic channel. Serious discussion is like pepper spray to me. I mean, I'll make the occasional coherent point, but I and my subscribers are, hopefully, here for a good time. Also, you are you, and I don't think anyone could have a serious discussion with you. Maybe if you could say something we could take seriously, that might help.
I was thinking about...
Now, you say you were thinking, but that's an awful long time to about it. I'm going to have to put a big doubt sticker on the whole thinking thing. Unless what you are trying to remember is some really, really super ultra complicated subject / thing that is hard to remember.
Earth.
Oh, Earth! I'm sorry, I was being unfair. You don't get a doubt sticker for your capacity to think. You get 2. Sorry for the mix-up.
And its beginnings.
Okay, its beginnings. Fantastic, great, wonderful. But why is that funny? I mean, I know why it's going to be funny, because you're going to unleash some weapons-grade stupid. But what about this is going to be funny for you, apart from your simple, complete lack of understanding?
And what we were taught of how a planet comes to existence over billions and billions of years.
Okay, I'm going to have to start cutting out crap again. Why so many of you clearly superior intellect folks insist on never doing any goddamn editing, I have no idea. But it would be super nice if you didn't make me do it for you, or like wrote a script, or did something to make your content more tolerable. But there I go again, asking for quality control from people who barely have any control over their cognitive functions.
And the fascination of it, and how delicate it is. Things that I've noticed, and the bullshit that I have learned.
Ah, the bullshit you've learned. It's good to know that we're on the same page then, because everything that you have learned is obviously bullshit. But we will be getting into that soon enough, I can assure you.
We were told, well, we all were, because all of our schools are exactly the same.
Not my school. My school was just a giant bottle of whiskey that you were just lowered into to soak for 8 hours a day. That place taught me everything I know. Which is why the only thing I know is that I really, really like whiskey. I'm starting to think it might not have been a proper school now that I think about it.
They teach exactly the same thing, at the same time.
Well, colour me the shocked. Schools teach the same things? Like they have some sort of curriculum designed so that the things that the kids learn are as accurate as possible? Well, that doesn't make any sense. They should be teaching completely random pieces of information, whether they are true or not. And it should be 100% up to the kids to wander the streets trying to figure out what the hell is or isn't real. That's how I got my degree from Even Bigger Bottle of Whiskey University. It turns out that everything I learned was true. Whiskey is awesome.
Thus that rainbow video that I did. I started seeing rainbows in every house. Painted on rocks. It's like, what the f*** is full of this stuff?
Okay, so I assume rainbows is to do with LGBT stuff, and so what? I mean, I've made fun of some of the sillier people in that movement, but the movement as a whole, I cannot see why it bothers people so much to see stuff about gay people existing. It's not even close to absolutely everywhere, and it's just more common than it used to be. Grow up, dude. And if it's not about LGBT, what do you got against rainbows? Apart from the complete lack of leprechaun treasure at the end. I got to the end of a rainbow once, and there was just a bucket of cold cat vomit. It was gross. I can't believe I drank the whole thing.
And then I finally figured it out that the schools, it's just like the news.
Oh, so that's why I hate the news so much, because I hated school. Well, until I found whiskey school, but those proper ones? No thanks. My main issue being that it was full of them, what do you call them now? People. Big ones, small ones, and worst of all, the ones who make you run laps and kick sports balls around. I hated my art teacher. Didn't teach me a thing about how to do an art.
They talk about the same thing over and over again on the same channel at the same time.
They talk about the same thing on the same channel at the same time? Okay. Damn them for saying the things they are saying when they say it. And if what you're really talking about is the 24-hour news cycle saying a lot of the same things over and over, then, well, no duh, of course they do. There's only so much news in the world that these institutions feel is worth reporting on, usually because of interest or lack thereof. So of course they are just going to show/say the same things over and over. Finally, if what you really, really mean is that all news stations ever say the exact same things, well, that's pretty much just false. Unless a fact is totally indisputable, and even then sometimes, but that's hardly going to be the news's fault. But when it comes to opinion stuff, they are going to report based on their overlord's desires, and that shit varies from show to show, often dramatically depending on where you are.
Every news channel is playing. Yeah, flip the channel. In your state, and you'll see. People have done videos on it. It's so obvious now. I mean, if people can't even see that, then
Look, mainstream news is lame, I feel you, but it doesn't really mean anything. Most of these places aren't trying to do anything other than get viewership. And you get viewership by showing people what they have already seen and telling them what they already want to hear. It's less an indictment of your workaday news group and the simple nature of many humans. But it's not all of them. The amount of people who cut the cord and thus don't really watch broadcast news is crazy. But that doesn't mean there isn't other news-related issues. Honestly, them showing the same shit over and over has been the same issue for years. They'll die soon enough and problem solved, I guess.
You better put a face mask on. You better hunker down because stage 2 is coming.
Oh, and let me guess, you're an anti-masker too. Whee! It's just so ridiculous. Every one of these anti-maskers is one of them, "This is America" types. We got rats. Well, so do shops, dipshits. You don't act this way when restaurants won't let you in for dressing like a clown, so why'd you act like this is any different? Either wear the mask or get an exemption and grow up. If you just got on with it like the rest of us, we could all be laughing about this once it's over. But seriously, if it wasn't for people like you, this crap would be over, and yet you're the ones complaining the hardest that it isn't. Irony is not your forte, it seems. Anyway.
I don't want to get into that shit.
Couldn't agree more. Let's do something fun. Hey, I have an idea. Why don't you say something stupid and then I'll make fun of it for you? Sound like a plan?
So, we're formed from this rock.
Rock? Nah, mate. Sir Sick is formed from metal. Yeah!
Spinning around, I don't know.
Well, doesn't that just say it all? I don't know should be your channel's mantra. I simply don't know what I'm talking about, why I'm even here, or who I am. Big shruggy my shoulders. I really think it's the kind of branding that could sell one of these channels to the mass market. Then you could play it all off as one big joke. No one would believe you, but still.
Was formed at the beginning of when the sun formed, I guess. Right?
Yeah, thereabouts. Why is that funny? I'm sure you were incredulous, but laughing at well-established facts just makes you sound like a total moron. I don't know if that's what you're going for, but frankly, acting like a moron is my turf, and I am not happy about you trying to muscle in on it.
So this rock is just out there by itself, and there are other rocks that are out there too, and one decides to get a little bigger.
I would assume you're being hyperbolic when you say stuff like that, but I have heard creationists use the same line when referring to creatures evolving, because they decide to grow legs, or they decide to become dinosaurs, or whatever. Like there could possibly be any decisions going on other than me hungry eat. Much like rocks are compelled together by the forces of gravity, the animals are compelled to evolve whatever way through the forces of survival of the fittest / natural selection. But there are no deliberate choices in either scenario. Hopefully I'm just wasting my time explaining that, but by this point I have learned to err on the side of stupid. I mean caution.
And starts attracting the other rocks. And then this amazing friction starts happening, and more rocks join the crowd, you know? And thus forming this ball. And then all of a sudden...
Is it just me, or is that the face of a man who just realised that he left the oven on, and the kids were in the oven, and the house is sinking into a lake? And he was supposed to go back hours ago, but forgot because he was way too busy looking silly on the internet. Maybe it's just me. Oh well, what was he talking about? Rocks? Sure. How could he screw that up, eh?
Because of the friction, molten lava just appears out of nowhere.
Oh right, that's how. Yes and no. Yes to the friction in part, but no to the rocks, and there are other things like the Earth originally formed from basically space dust. And when they pulled together, lots and lots of heat was generated. The rocks clumping together part is likely early meteorites, which there were a lot of in the early days, crashing into the Earth, which did add to the overall heat, but that was from their own heat plus kinetic energy from the impacts, like how meteors sometimes explode when they impact. Now, he's not doing the worst job I've ever heard describing this stuff, but it's also not a good job either. I mean, my description is bad, and it's 10 times better. So you can see why this shit needs pointing out.
Okay? That's what's holding the core together. That's what's holding the gravity together.
Okay, what? I have been pretty kind to your little crappy descriptors so far here, but what? The core holds the gravity together? What in the ever-loving frick does that mean? I mean, in one way, it could be argued that he's kinda right, but only by complete accident. The core and the rest of the planet being massive, and that's not to say huge, but that it has lots of mass, is what gives the planet its reasonably big gravitational pull. But, well, the confusing part is it being held together. No, it doesn't need to be held together. Gravity is something every single object has, and it's just the bigger the object, the more influence one thing has over the smaller things. Saying gravity is held together by magma is like saying that the oceans are held together by land mass on Earth. It sounds like it might be right until you think about it for half a second. And it's this being wrong about things that makes you laughing at how silly it all is. Well, that makes you look really, really stupid. I mean, go for it. Don't believe the science if you really want, but at least get it right first.
So the gravity gets bigger and bigger and bigger because the object's getting bigger and bigger and bigger, and it keeps rotating quicker and quicker, faster and faster. It's gathering more rocks. It's gathering more rocks. It's amazing. It's incredible. It's turning into a planet. Holy shit! What are we gonna do? And then all of a sudden, bam!
Holy Jesus cake! I think I shit myself from all the excitement. I'm gonna have a minute to sit down. Well, change first, then sit down. While I get over that incredible retelling of history of the universe. My God, if that was that good, I can't wait to find out what happens next. Hopefully it isn't something completely frigging stupid.
Trees start to grow.
What? No! So much shit happens before then. I mean, yeah, eventually trees, of course. But you're missing out on millions, possibly billions of years of natural processes before trees even show up in the way that we know them today. This is what I was saying! You're acting like this is silly, and it is, but only because you are silly and have no idea what you're talking about. I mean, going back to the start of the video, you said this.
And what we were taught of how a planet comes to existence.
Clearly, you were off sick that day. Well, week. Well, month. Well, yeah. Did you actually go to school? Because I'm having a really hard time believing that you did. Although considering that hair, it was probably in the Stone Age, so a little while ago, perhaps you just plumbed forgot it.
Atmosphere starts to begin. And the vacuum of space is no longer a problem. So how do trees grow without air?
I bet you think that that's such a big, smart, big brain gotcha, don't you? I think I'm done. But I'll just say, have you bothered to actually look into that question before asking it on the lines and looking like a colossal idiot? Because I'll give you a quick clue. Trees weren't the first life forms, and the atmosphere was formed way before they were even a thing. God damn it, man. No wonder your wife makes fun of you.
Wait, before you go, I have something super important to tell you. It's life or death. It will change everything forever. Nope, wait, it's gone. Oh well, probably wasn't important. But while I have you, don't forget to comment, subscribe and notify. And if you want more of my smexy voice, check out Mrs. Six's channel Spoonstaff Stories, where I narrate and voice all the videos, and she does the work. And if you want to support the channel, check out the merch store for cool t-shirts, or check out Patreon, memberships and PayPal to support directly. Finally, follow me on the medias of social to get completely pointless guff and to keep up on the latest releases. Oh, I just remembered what I was going to tell you. Whatever you do, don't touch the